Chapter 6. Ugh, I'm so over this place. And apparently cotillion is a way bigger deal than I thought. Great, now I really have to keep up the perfect princess act. Can't have some aisle hooligan running Ben's big day. Mal raced to her locker, grabbed her purse from inside it, and rooted around in the bag. Hi, Mal, came a voice from beside her. Mal staggered back and found Ben leaning against her locker door. Hi, she said, trying to act cool. She let out a nervous laugh. Ben smiled warmly at her. I have a little surprise for you. Mal grinned. Another one. Wow, that's like every day now. Every other day, said Ben, correcting her. The even dates? Because you're even more perfect than I thought. That's me. I am perfect. She kept herself from rolling her eyes. Come on, let me spoil you, said Ben. You know, you didn't have a lot growing up. Mal's smile twitched. We managed, she said. Ben peered inside Mal's locker and saw her spell book sitting in a wire tray against the back. He pointed at the book. Didn't you donate that to the museum? He reached for it, but Mal guided his hand away, closed the locker door, and smiled. Is that still in there? Said Mal playfully. She brushed Ben's hair out of his eyes with her finger. I have to get to class. I do not want to be late, so no you don't, said Ben. But he took Mal's hand and led her by the arm. A few steps away, there was a sparkly purple motor scooter with a gold bow on top. Ta-da, said Ben, gesturing to it. Mal gasped and cupped her hands to her mouth. What? Do you like it? Asked Ben. Mal beamed, genuinely thrilled. Does an ogre like cheese puffs? She stepped closer to the scooter and inspected it, feeling the new seat and handles. Ben, this is amazing! She looked up at his smiling face. I love it, she said, examining the scooter again. She let out a joyful laugh, but then her face fell. I haven't gotten you anything, she said, gazing at Ben. Oh, well, you're making me a picnic with all my favorite foods, remember? Ben leaned back against the lockers and smiled. No, that's on Thursday, said Mal, patting Ben's chest reassuringly. It is Thursday, said Ben, reaching into his royal blue jacket. Mal laughed. No, it's not, she said. She grabbed for her purse. Ben quickly pulled his phone out of his jacket pocket and showed the date to Mal. Thursday, he said, confirming that Mal had hoped wasn't true. Another slip-up, Mal thought. Great, she sighed. But it's okay, you know. Ben started. No. I knew it was Thursday. I was messing around. Mal laughed again. I just have a few more things to finish cooking, and then I'm all yours. So I'm going to go do that. It's all good. I'm good. Mal smiled like she truly meant it. What about class? Asked Ben. She multitasks, Mal said, grinning. She patted Ben's chest affectionately and ran off. She dabbles, Ben called after her. Mal broke out into laughter. You're the best, Ben shouted. That's me, sang Mal. But Mal couldn't help feeling that the opposite was true. As captain of the Roar team, Jay led practice in the amphitheater when tourney was having its off-season. Some athletes at Ordon Prep took up all new blue and gold uniforms, boosting the school's crest to play Roar. They held lightweight swords, wore mesh masks that hid their faces, and sparred within the confines of an indoor arena. That day, students watched from behind a rail and from balconies as Jay and Carlos sparred with other masked opponents. Some team members jumped on blue and yellow concrete boxes and evenly spaced around the perimeter of the arena to gain height. Chad looked on from the sidelines, motioning with his sword to try to match Jay's agile moves. Eyes on your opponent, Jay shouted, demonstrating. Light on your feet. Jay fought each of his opponents, forcing them to move out of bounds, where they removed their masks and watched from the sidelines as he faced his remaining competitor, who thrust a sword at Jay, challenging him. Jay removed his mask. Get him, Jay, shouted Chad. The masked fencer and Jay fought, sword striking sword. It was an even match. Watch out, Jake, said Carlos. Jay and his advisory squared off again, sizing each other up. Then they were back at it. Come on, Jay, Carlos called. The masked figure spun, ripping Jay's sword from his hand. Jay gasped. The figure battled Jay backward to the rim of the arena. Jay kicked his opponent's hand, sending his sword flying back into his own hand. Finish him, shouted Chad. But before either Jay or his opponent could make another agile move, the mystery fencer pulled off the headgear in surrender. A mane of shiny, smooth black hair cascaded out. It was none other than Lonnie. Jay grinned at the revelation, impressed. Not bad, said Chad, as all the students applauded. You should put me on the team, said Lonnie, with a smile. Chad stepped into the arena in front of her. What? He looked at Jay. No, dude. We'd be the laughingstock of the league, right, guys? Sputtered Chad. I mean, what's gonna happen next? We're gonna have girls play tourney? Chad smirked. So? Jay asked him. Chad scoffed. So have you not read the rule book? Let me do that for you. He finished the rule book out of his back pocket. Section 2, paragraph 3, 11-4, he said, opening the book, a team shall be comprised of a captain and 8 men, read Chad. He held the book in the air, turned in a circle for the other students to see, and lowered it in front of Jay's face. Jay pushed Chad's hand away. But you're down a man, since Ben had to leave to do all that king stuff, said Lonnie, annoyed at the silly rule and at Chad for enforcing it. Chad let out an exaggerated sigh. Exactly, down a man, he said, cocking his head to the side and pursing his lips in defiance. Jay, Lonnie said, hoping he had better news. Jay looked at the floor, then shook his head, generally unhappy. I'm sorry, Jay told her. Coach trusted me, and I'm not going to stay captain if I just throw out the rule book. Lonnie stared long and hard at Jay, disappointed. If my mother thought that way, she would have lost the war. Chad sneered. Okay, he said in a mocking tone. Lonnie sighed and started to walk away. Read the rule book, said Chad, shaking it at her back. Jay sighed. All right, guys, let's call it. That's practice. He and the team filed out of the room. On his way out, Carlos gazed up and saw Jane leaning on the balcony. She was in her cheerleading uniform and held her tablet. Jane, Carlos shouted. Hey, he added. Hey, Carlos, what's up? Jane smiled and looked down from the balcony. Carlos hopped up onto a concrete block below her. Not much. You? Jane glanced at her tablet. Way too much. We were going to go with the blue and gold banners for Cotillion, but now we can't find the right shade of blue. Dude in his Roar uniform sat on a block and whined at Carlos. Yeah, that's a bummer. Speaking of Cotillion, said Carlos. I know, right? Jane interrupted. It's all anybody is talking about 24/7. It's like they've never been to one before. Jane let out an annoyed laugh. I haven't, admitted Carlos quietly. Jane's eyes opened wide. Oh, she quickly tried to save face. Lucky, she said, shaking her head. I always end up serving punch with my mom, anyway. And this year I got stuck on the decorating committee because Audrey went off to a spa vacation with Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather. Jane grimaced at the thought. Oh, hey, maybe we should just, Carlos blanched. Skip the whole thing? I really, really wish I could. It's so nice to have a friend who's on the same wavelength. Jane beamed at him. Just then her phone dinged and she groaned. I gotta go. Good practice though. Jane dashed off. Dude looked at Carlos and whimpered. It wasn't the right time, all right? Carlos responded, exaggerated.